What's up, folks? My name's Matthew, aka EZBOT, and today we have a lovely update on the Electron Tonverk, what I'm calling the redemption arc for this device. There was some polishing needed for it to be more, what I'd say, compliant with the other Electron boxes. There's still a little ways to go, in my opinion, for it to be on par with the Digitac 2 and the Digatone 2. That's just a personal opinion of mine. Right now, we're closer to the Mark II devices, which I'm talking about the Octatrack Analog 4 and the Analog Rhythm. This is more aligned with those devices right now, even though it has a lot of the polishings from the newer devices and stuff not seen on any other device. We're going to kind of keep this stream a little bit shorter than I typically do. Typically, the streams are about 2 hours long, and we're going to keep it around an hour, under an hour, but we're going to go over the patch notes. That's what I want to do today, is I want to go over the patch notes. There's already been a bunch of drops on the Grain engine. I know a lot of people are focusing on that because that is the big deal right now. And let's not beat around the bush. This became a competitor with the Torso S4 suddenly, and things like mutable beads and mutable clouds and other granular engines that you might have in your Eurorack synthesizer. Now available in the Tonverk in Electron speak, language that I think we're very familiar with on this channel. So let's take a look at the Tonverk. I did a little sample of some piano from my OPXY because that's kind of like my little utility synth that doesn't require any plugging in or anything, so it's really easy for me to use as a sample source in videos like this. What I did that before we got here, and I want to talk about, I'm just saying that so you know where this sound came from. I sampled it myself. There's a couple of cool things that were added, some quality of life features that were added to the Tonverk, but before we do that, let's just take a look at the Grain machine, even though I know you already know how it functions. This is just a little piano sound. I'll turn it up for you. So this is a very similar Grain engine to what, Clouds and Beads does, except for it's got like some pre-patched modulation to it, right? So I just have a trigger down here playing. I don't even remember if I've said it. Yeah, it's playing for about the length of this track, and it's just moving at 16 steps. So it's just continually keeping the grains running. And I can turn up the density of the grains. Right now I have it set to oscillator mode. Let's get out of this. Let's go over to the random mode. The size of the grain will really be quite obvious as you bring it down. You can move its starting position around. This is actually pretty similar to stuff that you could do with Digitac 1. I was doing stuff like this on the Digitac 1 using LFOs. And so you can see where an engine like this would come from. It really is just, envelopes with a little tiny sample movement. And that's what's going on here. You can do this without a Tonverk, honestly, but not quite the same since this is polyphonic, right? I mean, that sounds crazy, but that's what makes this exceptional, is that you have that already pre-patched for you, plus you have LFOs, all these effects, and then you can do this polyphonically. This will just move the grain start position, and I don't want to pretend like you haven't already watched these videos, because I know you have. And then scan will move it forward, or move it backwards, and it will just automatically scan, and it goes right through it as if it was a sample set to looping. Spread will move the grains around from each other, so they're more distance, and then pan will change them in the stereo field, and it does a really great job. What I like about this is it really illustrates what's happening with these little dots. They look like little zero crossing points from the Octatrack. A really welcome thing to see from an Octatrack lover like myself. But I like how it goes up and down, letting you know that, this is the top of the stereo, this is the bottom of the stereo. That's how the waveform works here. This is a stereo sampler, and it's demonstrating that for you. So that's really nice to see. You can just quickly change sample right here. We could go to this other sample. You can parameter lock these samples and keep your engine type. So think about how creative you can get doing stuff like that. Let's stick with this piano lick. Let me bring this stuff back down so it becomes simple again. So all these controls, not all the controls, but many of the controls change based on what mode you have it in. Change the modes here. Sync mode uses your BPM, so if we adjust the BPM, you'll notice it going faster. This is how big the grains are, once again, still that. Whew. Density's really nice when you have it in sync mode. Beautiful. Oh, that's gorgeous. Let's give it some reverb. And this is whether the grains play forward or backwards. If you have it at 50%, it's gonna 50% of they're gonna play forward, 50% of they're gonna play in reverse. This is the shape of the envelope over the grains. I think that's kind of obvious. It's really obvious when you listen to this. Sounds like garbage when you do that because there's no attack or release, so it's getting lots of transient little pops and clicks. Right now we were just on using 1 grain. We can add more grains, up to 8 grains. Ooh. I'd say that's perfection. This to me is a lot of like what clouds sounds like. Sounds awesome. This is a huge, huge accomplishment for the Tonverk, and I alluded to this update without being told explicitly that this is what was happening, because let's get real. It was obvious to do this. This was a no-brainer for Electron to add this to the Tonverk. Everybody wanted this from Electron, and they did it. We knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. Get on my level. All right, let's bring this reverb and delay back down, and let's go to the last mode, oscillator mode. Oscillator mode's going to use these size, and it's going to oscillate around the size. Not that we needed to bring that BPM down, but all forward, all playing in reverse. It just reminds me of clouds so much. It's really nice to see. The stuff that people are going to make with this is going to be out of control. Let's get something weird really quick, and then let's move on to the rest of the update. Wait, do I have like soundscapes? The soundscape is not that cool. Oh yeah. I love this kind of stuff right here. Listen to this. This weird stuff we're gonna get from this thing. Oh my god. Let's get to Ear Candy Land. Ear Candy Land. It's like a doctor's office you don't want to go to. Super cool. So you can see like where you can get with this. Maybe we'll do one more, like a percussive sample. I don't want drum hits. I want, oh, well, I guess that's where we're at. Let's go back to tonal and see if we get some more phrases really quick. Acoustic. No. Let's go to synthetic phrases. There we go. Then, of course, we have our filter section. The classic new low-pass stereo field feature built into this engine. And it has different filter types, so you can do a bandpass, low-pass, high-pass, all the classics. And then we have this new shelving situation, which is really cool to see. So we can amplify the low or high. This is actually the shelving thing you see here is something you would see in like the reverb and delay as to help you adjust the reverb tank or the delay tank, the feedback tank. And now it's just available in this engine. So this is the grain engine. awesome. You're going to do some great stuff with it. There's a lot of videos on the internet about with amazing sound examples. We're just diving into it really quick. So we're going to go through this whole entire OS update. So I'm going to move on. Super sick. We love it. Great job, Electron. Moving forward. So now we've got this shape source machine for the bus tracks. This is one it's such a strange one to me. Because I honestly don't remember what was there before. I think you could just turn it into a MIDI machine. But the shape added this logarithmic, low pass, high pass shelving filter here, which is really dope. And we can route our tracks through it. So I have track 1, I can route it into bus 1, which it is actually already done. So if we go down to bus 1, I could actually, this applies to that track. Clear that out. We also have an undo redo, which is really sick to see. And what's new is that because this is an engine, check this out. Here's something that you may not have, I don't know if people have talked about this or shown this off in other videos today, but I'm going to show it off to you right now. So I'm placing triggers down on the sequencer, and before you could not do this. This is new to this update. This is a really big deal. Well, it's less of a big deal since they added a sidechain source for the compressors, which we're going to get to. But this would have been a really big deal, and it still is a really big deal because you can create your own gate rhythm scenarios. But what is really cool about this is, say I got that running through my bus track. Let's invert our envelope depth, or just negative envelope depth. Check that out. We now have the ability to actually duck things, but sculpt our ducking. So besides having the compressor sidechain source choosing like a kick drum, if you don't want to do that, you can actually dial in your ducking envelope yourself. So this actually is now a techno device, right? How cool is that? This is like such... When I saw this in the update and I tried this out to see if it would function, I haven't even checked to see if the mod envelope on the tracks does what I always hoped it would do. I imagine maybe that didn't get addressed because it's not in the update notes that I'm looking at. But of course, this is actually still the preview firmware. I haven't even grabbed the one from the Electron website. But I'm pretty sure they're the same because I think it was the release candidate. Regardless, this is a huge deal. So this is a part of having the source machine on the effects bus. We can now route multiple machines into the effects bus and throw down envelopes, invert them, and create the sidechain ducking. Pretty freaking sick, right? Yeah, big deal. Don't be a baby. Let's be grown-ups and use these cool features, right? That's what we're trying to do today. Level up our game with the Tonverk. And I think this is awesome. So if we actually did this and just filled this whole track up, we could create like a gated sound. Much like having an LFO, but we could do this on like a per step basis. Imagine you throw well, we could throw some drums down underneath this, but I feel like it'll take up too much of our time, and we are low on time today. But I really wanted to address this update. But I think that's really great, right? You can see where this is going in the application that you have here. You have now the ability to shape the volume of multiple sounds, run through a single... You could run all your tracks through that bus. You could run 2 tracks through the bus. This is kind of like how I like to function with my Digattack 2, my Digatone 2, and the sidechain busing tracks that I do. I literally create a track and send that to the sidechain compressor. I like to do that. It's really useful for ducking, but now you can get extremely surgical with that concept. It doesn't have to be about ducking. You could amplify the sounds if you wanted. Do whatever you want. Treat it as an expander instead of a compressor or whatever, ducker, whatever. Let's move on. Let's see, what else was there? I'm gonna kind of read these notes and just double check. There's so much happened here. Send effects tracks now have a shelving filter and the filter page and amp envelope on the event. Yes, we saw that. So we also have, well, that's not true. That's not entirely true. Filter page and amp envelope on the amp page. They're not saying envelope on the filter page. I was confused there for a second. But yeah, this is dope. Awesome. No new effects. The Granular machine is enough for us though. Okay, so check this out. This is so sick. Oops. I deleted my sequence. I can now undo and redo the delete. Undo, redo. That's pretty great. So this is a really cool functionality because we don't have function yes, function no on our Tonverk, what we have is a, recall and memorize, and it's not the same as function yes, function no. I want to be really clear about that. The distinction between recall and memorize on the Tonverk versus Digitac 2, Digatone 2, function yes, function no recalling is that in that box, when you do a function no, function yes scenario, not only are you risking destroying your work, which can be really scary, and actually has happened to me a billion times live on stream, just like this. But it actually has a really cool functionality that's very positive. So like, I kind of miss it, and I wish it was on the Tonverk, to be honest. But it actually will function yes, function no, will recall your mute states, your sample selection. It'll recall your BPM. So like literally takes a snapshot of your entire project. That's not what memorize and recall does. Memorize and recall does not memorize mute states, or it doesn't memorize like your trig states. No, it does memorize your trig states, but it doesn't memorize your tempo. And this also doesn't have like pattern mutes on it. Anyway, there's a couple other things that it doesn't do, but we're not going to dig through that all the time. But I wanted to make sure you knew about that. What is great is that we do have the ability to recall our patterns. So if we make a mistake, we accidentally delete our patterns, the Tonverk will actually tell you, hey, you did that. Do you want to undo it? It alerts you. This is a little notification. It's got its own little iPhone now to let you know that you're pay attention to me. What a sweet deal. What a sweet deal. So happy to have that. All right, here is the update of them all. Honestly, take the grain engine away. I don't care. Take away this filter. Cool. I mean, I love those things, but let's get real. This is the biggest update to this device across the board, because it was honestly borderline unusable to use 16 bars of audio on this thing and not being able to preview what you've done on your triggers. Forget it. I'm not even going to try and program a 16 bar sequence and have to wait a minute to listen to what I did incorrectly or what I did that sucked. We now have Trig preview. So let's load a sample. Let's go to another track. Whatever. Let's get a new sample. We have time for this. Tonverk library. Single samples. Let's get a drum hit. Let's check out a process kick drum. Cool. Kick drum. Oh, this needs to go. See you later. All right, back to the kick drum. Oh wait, wait a second. This might be an opportunity for me to save myself. Oh, it doesn't work that way. Okay, let's go back and do that. You go away. Back. Okay, so if I want to program stuff, say we're gonna do a bazillion pages. Here we go. Okay. I want to program this last page. So I'm jumping to the last page. I can't loop it yet. Hope they add that functionality, but I'm okay. I'm on page 16. I want to see what I programmed on page 16. I can now hold a trigger in Audition. Holy shift. Holy shift. Jesus Christ. Amazing. This is fantastic. So let's also talk about it in a polyphonic sense. Let's switch this sample out to just like, or let's go into a multi-layer. Multiplayer, I mean to say. Degraded piano. Everybody loves this patch on here because it's the only piano patch. This is honestly a mistake that they don't have more like violins and orchestral sounds and pianos. Like, where's just a classic grand piano? I missed that. Okay, let's go up. Okay, now I want to like audition a chord. Hold the trigger down. Gotta, like, you can't just go like this. Hold the trigger down and program notes. It'll just keep replacing the note. Honestly, functions a lot like this sucker does, and I don't like that it does that. But to mitigate it, you hold down your trigger and keep pressing. And once you've done that, you know, you can add notes. Now we can audition that. That's great. That's fantastic. You can also go into step edit and hold those triggers and hit and audition. And you can see what it's doing. it's triggering the notes. Like it's actually just triggering all the notes. And so let's talk about something it doesn't do. We're very honest here on the EZBOT show. So let's get real. Let's get real. Let's clear this out. Say I want to put down this chord from the chord engine. Let's get out of step mode. And I want to program that chord. Do you think this is going to work? Because I wanted it to. Plays only one note. This is something for you to keep in mind. This doesn't function as you would expect. I hope that they address this. But yeah, so this is still a problem in my opinion. This should program a chord, but it doesn't. It programs a note. So it's still skipping over the chord here. It's a bummer. It continues to be the only way to do it is to live record, as far as I know. If we go into step edit, it's programming MIDI notes. If I audition this, it's still just playing those 4 notes, so it does sound cool though. So that's something for you to keep in mind. Didn't address that, but we have Trig preview. All they needed to do was add Trig preview, and this update would have been a goldmine to me, because that's what this device was missing, in my opinion. The Granular thing is really awesome, and it continues to replace my Eurorack. As sad as that sounds, and also as convenient as it is for somebody who absolutely adores Electron, and I do. I love my Electron stuff. It's my favorite stuff I own. And I told you that they were going to make this thing better. And they did. And so it's getting better. It's not, we're still powering up. We haven't gone Super Saiyan yet, but we're almost there. So hang tight. We're going to hit level 9,000 or 9, whatever it is. I didn't watch enough Dragon Ball Z to actually know what I'm talking about. All right, here we go. So it's now possible to preview to Prig view. That's the new kind of previewing. Sidechain source parameter. This is a big one. How are we doing on time? We're good. We're good. Let's keep cracking. So let's go to, well, let's see if we can even do it here. Actually, I haven't checked. Compressor. No. No sidechain source. Okay, so maybe it's on bus tracks only. Compressor. Aha! I hadn't even checked yet. There it is. We got sidechain source for our compressor, and we can choose the source. So I could say track 1, and we could turn track 1 into a kick drum. Let's see how quickly we can do that. Here's that cool kick drum that we had. Let's just put 4 on the floor. Let's go to our bus and look at our compressor. We're targeting track 1. I'm not seeing it dial in. Maybe that's because of the mix. Oh, it's definitely working. So something I haven't honestly checked is how do I choose? I only get to choose what's routed to the bus, I guess. So I don't want this kick drum routed to that bus. Let's do that. So instead of on the Digitect 2 and the Digatone 2, what you would do is you would go function filter, I believe. Yes, function filter, and you would go into the setup and you could choose what was routed into the compressor bus. And you'd have all these options. It was very simple. It was very easy to understand. You could route the inputs. The Tonverk has so many routing. Routing is part of the device. You don't need to go into the settings to adjust the routing. Routing is what it does. That's how the machine functions. So you have to think about it that way. You're not going to go and treat the compressor the same way you would treat it on the Digitect 2 and the Digatone 2, because it doesn't need you to do that. You've already get to choose your routing in your effects part of your machine type. So I want this to go out my main out, but I also want this compressor to adjust its compression based on track 1. It's doing that. I don't see the threshold or the actual depth of the compression or the reaction from the compression, or the actual, reduction is what I guess would be what I mean to say. So it doesn't show you the reduction, but we know it's happening because we heard it when I had the kick drum compressing itself. It was ducking itself. So we know that this functions. So if I go here and we put this trigger down, set this length to like 16, and then make this track not 256 steps. And let's put like a chord in. This chord engine off. Oh my God, that's so annoying. Okay. probably the wrong sound for this. So let's go ahead and adjust that to... You can also name things in your when you're doing the multi-samples now. This will be very obvious. This is good. Cool, cool, cool. All right, let's route that into our bus. We're going into bus 1. There you go, it's doing its thing. Let's go to bus 1. I wish those notes were lower. That's gonna bother me. Let's just change it really quick. Oh yeah, I guess I don't even need to think about that. We'll just do this. I don't like that either. It's clipping. Probably because of the kick drum, maybe? Alright, let's go back over here. And take a look. No makeup gain. This is just ducking. Alright, you can hear it doing its thing. We could really... I'm trying to emphasize it for you the most. So if you want to do sidechain compression and have it duck, maybe not the best sound that I picked. Would have been nice if it was some really full synth patch. But like I said, we're speed running this update right now. But you can see what you could do with it. So take that and utilize that. You can now create a sidechain bus. Really easy. Just choose a bus and put a sidechain compressor, target your kick drum, make a track a kick drum, route stuff over to that, do whatever you want. And of course, if you want to do ducking, it looks a bit like this. You'd go, you know, however much ducking you want to do is based on your threshold. Set up your envelope for your ducking like this. Remove, don't use makeup gain, otherwise it's gonna, you know, make the volume go up as well. We just want to take some volume down to do that, you know, nice cut out of the sound, out of the wave, so to speak, and target your track. And it functions just as you would expect. It's unfortunate to see that this compressor functionality only exists on the bus and not just on the tracks, but I'm honestly, that was as far as my complaint goes with that. So this was a really huge update. This also completely changes the Tonverk's functionality. If you want it to be like, I think that to me, this is like a dub techno super device, right? We have atmospheres. I mean, it's a techno device for sure, because that's what Electron does. But we have atmospheres. We have multi-samples. We can get any sound we want. We now have granular stuff. We can get super weird and gross. We have tons of filters, comb filters, all sorts of stuff we can add to it. We have filters on the buses. There's a bunch of stuff added now in this update that really leveled this thing up just before Christmas. How convenient. And yeah, it's ready to, I feel like it's now ready to actually be used at a show. They've mitigated a ton of bugs or fixed a lot of bugs in the device so far. I haven't run into anything weird other than it's just still needing a couple more quality of life features from Digatone and stuff, like the things I've shown you. We've been very transparent about what it has and what it doesn't have so far in this update. So I hope that you're paying attention to those things so that you aren't surprised by that when you load this up yourself. All right, it's now possible to load samples in the format of M4A, CAF, and FLAC file formats. I don't care, so I'm going to move on from that, but that's cool. You got those file formats. You can now load a bunch more stuff. There's a post-effects pan parameter now added to the effects setup menu. Let's check this out in the audio menu. Wait, I got to find this again. I found it earlier, so it's the effects setup menu for the audio, bus, send, and effects tracks. We're here. Where was that? Oh, here it is. Oh, it's in the effects section. Effects. Next. There it is. Here it is. Now I remember. Okay. So now we can do post effects and adjust that. Yeah. There we go. Interesting way to implement that. So now you can like do like this mid-side type stuff. Imagine how creative you can get with this. Let's just break this down for a second. What could you do with this? If you had this post effects sent all the way to the hard left, the effects would get processed on the left side. You send it all the way to the right, the effects would get processed on the left side. If you send stuff to two different buses or identical sounds to two buses, one on the left, one on the right, maybe three buses, one in the center, and you do 3 different effects, but it's the same sound, you adjust the volumes correctly so that they're not overwhelming, you could do like this mid-side split crazy stuff that you usually do in your DAW. That's pretty cool. So if you're familiar with doing that kind of stuff in your DAW, you can get pretty creative with this post-effects split processing idea. There's a lot more to think about with that. I haven't let my brain process it fully. Maybe my brain can't even process anything fully anymore. I'm not sure. But that's where that is. That's pretty cool. So that you're going to find that in the effects parameter. Kind of a weird thing to get to. You just keep hitting the effects button. I guess it's not that weird. All right, added a screen that displays memory usage. I honestly don't know where that is. Maybe somebody wants to tell me where it is. Personalized menu is still looking pretty sad. Where is the memory usage screen? Matt is caffeinated today. I've had 2 double espressos. Let's get real. Definitely caffeinated. I don't know where the memory usage screen is. It exists somewhere. This person here doesn't know. Maybe it's in here. All right, check this out. So let's go. Somebody can point that out to me. File menu. Oh, thank you. Okay, 220 megabytes of. All right, we've used 5%. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Cool. That's not in my list of changes patch notes. So I would have had to search in the Tonverk. Could have taken me days. Never would have found it. Okay, well, we know that's there. It's not gonna matter to us, really. I guess the multi-samples they are really large, so maybe it will matter. This is not a dig attack. So yeah, it's actually good that it's there. I spoke too soon. Spoke out of turn. All right. Improved sample browser's look and feel. Okay. Let's take a look at that. Well, it doesn't mean this, because this is not improved. So it's definitely not that. Let's go here. I did notice this already, so this is better. So let's go like single player, sample assign, find a sample slot. Electron. Polyphonic synths. Good lord. Okay, well, it looks and feels better. I don't remember what it looked like before, so... yeah. Maybe it's in here. No, it's the same spot. It takes you to the same place. Well, it looks and feels... I feel better just knowing that it's there. There we go. This is what it means. So now we actually have these options. It looks a lot more like the dig attack. Now we can load multiple samples and move them around and load them into our project. All right, that's what it was talking about. It wasn't talking about if you go from the source menu. You have to specifically go from the sample menu. Function plus the waveform it takes you to take the sample browser. It is improved, indeed. It actually functions the way you would expect in a sampler. Awesome. That's actually really nice. Thank the Lord. Clarified that the LFO destinations in the modulation destination list refers to LFO1. Oh, I guess we have to go to LFO2 to do that, wouldn't we? Lovely. There we go. That's just like how it functions on the dig attack and the digatone. So, everything falling in line. This is what I'm getting at. It's coming to life. It's like Frankenstein. No, that's... what was the name of the actual thing in Frankenstein? Because that was the doctor. We just call it Beast, I guess? Honestly, I don't remember. That's good, though. But it is coming to life in the ways that I expected it to. It's getting the quality of life features, and I expect this to continue throughout the year until it is a fully formed Tonverk, much like the Digatone 2. I'm getting really excited about it because I feel like this thing is suddenly just going to sit on the table, and it's not going to leave the table now. Because before it was on this other side table, which is like my experiment table, where there's all sorts of knickknacks over there where I plug things in and try ideas out before I bring them onto YouTube or before I integrate them into my set, and the Tonverk was on that part of the table. That's not where I want my stuff to be. That usually, means that I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do with it. This is ready for prime time, I think. I think I'm going to pair it with the TR-1000. That's what I want to do. I want to play with the TR-1000 and the Tonverk, and I think it's ready to do my dub techno idea. I have this dub techno concept in my head. All right, continuing through, added the possibility to rename multi-sampled instruments. Let's check that out. You can actually do that without actually multi-sampling anything. Press up. Bam. You can now name your multi-samples. Fantastic. Cool, cool, cool. Nice work. Glad that showed up. Minor improvements to the screen UI and LED indications. No idea what that's referring to, but I guess it's been improved. I didn't have it memorized, but it looks good, like it always does. I don't know. I've always liked how Electron did their UI. General performance and stability improvements. Okay. I'm assuming that we'll never know what that means, because hopefully it's kind of like a cold. Here's a good analogy. Whatever, not that this matters. But you know how you get when you get a cold, and then like one day you just like look back and you go, oh yeah, I had a cold like a month ago, didn't I? You just kind of don't have it anymore. You just move on from it. You don't think about that it had some sort of end point. That's how I feel about stability and bug improvements. They kind of just, you don't even realize that they happened. If you didn't look at patch notes, you would have no idea that it ever occurred. It just stops being a problem. That's where we're at with the Tonverk. So here's some of the bug fixes. We'll just point them out. I'll point out the ones that I think are the most important. USB MIDI output and timing problems. They already fixed that. To me, it was already fixed, but I guess it's been fixed even further. Default retrig value was set to a quarter note instead of 1/32. That was weird to me. So I'm glad that they did fix that. The MIDI source machine CC selection parameters responded too slowly when adjusted. I didn't notice that because I hadn't done that yet. I do have a video that I'm going to be making soon about using the MIDI machines and auto channel and external devices and how the Tonverk can really up your MIDI external devices that don't have keyboards. It's incredible. Honestly, it's sick. It was the coolest thing about the Tonverk, in my opinion, until they added this update. So I want to show it to you. I just haven't had the chance because life has been insane. But I will. We'll either do it on a stream or we'll make a video. Probably on a stream, though. All right. Trigs and sequences copied and pasted between subtracks could misplace parameter locks. I had no idea that that was a problem, but that sounds like a real problem. The cursor could move past character limit on a naming screen and could... Okay, I don't care about that. Using the recall function or disabling perform mode could reset settings in the MIDI config menu. That totally sucks. Glad that's fixed. The arpeggiator, or using the recall function or disabling perform mode could reset settings. I just said that one. What's wrong with me? The arpeggiator could play chord notes in the wrong order. That's whack. The received CC setting was disabled by default. It doesn't matter. The device could not receive NRPN data. That's important for people with controllers. CC and NRPN controls for FX LFOs were not in the correct order. Okay. A number, okay, don't care about that. It was possible to create a new project from the project menu. It was not possible to create a new project from the project menu if the current project had been corrupted. Well, that sounds like what a corrupted project would do anyway, but I'm glad that they fixed that. The device could, under some circumstances, become unresponsive when saving a project. I did notice that one. That was not cool. Notes played manually could disappear if the swing was set very high. Wow. That would have been an interesting one to run into. Did not run into that. Clearing a trig with parameter locks subtracts machine supertrack. Did not actually remove the parameter locks. That was annoying the crap out of me. Thank you for fixing that. Changing track scale could sometimes cause unpredictable behavior. No idea what that means. It's unpredictable. Who knows? We're going to miss that one. We're going to wish that one would come back because now we're going to be so bored with how predictable its behavior is. Copying and pasting a pattern could sometimes cause a device to become unresponsive. That sucks. Retriggered notes could fail to play sometimes. Didn't run into that. Okay. That's the update, guys. Tonverk 1.1.0. It's here. And we love it. And we just went over the whole update. All the goodies. All the improvements. You've now seen them. You've heard them. There's videos out on the Grain Machine. Lots of great videos by some of our favorite YouTubers. Our favorite music makers on the old tube, making great videos on this great, cool device and the Grainer engine. Interesting name, Grainer. Grenadier. Makes me think of Command and Conquer. with a good game. Hopefully you like RTSs and you get that joke or reference. All right, folks, that's the hour. That's what I was talking about. We're going to do it in an hour. My name is Matthew, aka EZBOT. If you like people doing what I'm doing right now, please subscribe to the channel. Give this video a like. Let me know what you think of the new update in the comments down below. I respond to comments. I read the comments. This is all I do, is go on YouTube all day because I have brain rot and I'm giving myself brain rot. So go down there and help me rot my brain, and I will conversate with you on my YouTube channel about your thoughts on the update, what you liked about it, what you don't like about it, what you wish it had. I'm curious because I told you a lot of my thoughts of what I wish it had and some of the misses that it had, but also this is a pretty big hit, I'd say. I'd say that this hit the mark for the most part. This is pretty dope. It's bringing Tonverk into an actual like performative use case scenario. I feel like we can use this box now. It's ready to go. I can comfortably tell people, yeah, you should pick up a Tonverk. I think you'll really like it. I think it's at that stage now. Whereas before I was like, well, there's some pitfalls, some caveats. You pick this thing up, it's maybe you're not going to do exactly what you expect. Now it's going to do much more of what you would expect. It's got pretty much all the features you would expect. There's a couple things it's missing in my opinion. We want pattern mutes. I want the chord engine or the keyboard chord layout to actually program MIDI notes into the sequencer without having to go into record mode. I don't like that how I program chords by holding a step and putting chords in, and how it removes notes. I feel like that wasn't happening before. I could just hold the note down and it would just keep adding, and I had to like literally remove the steps. I think that's how it worked before, because this is irritating me. I don't like that. But otherwise, I think it's dope. I think it sounds awesome. The Granular machine is really cool. This added filter functionality is really sick. And overall, it's a great machine. So thank you for hanging out. I will see you next Tuesday for a live stream. Or maybe sooner. I don't know, but definitely next Tuesday. Every Tuesday we do this. You want to get your hands on my template and stuff like that, visit patreon.com/EZBOT. You can get all the Octatrack rewards and templates. And also, if you're interested in the cool like MIDI cables that I have that light up with the LED and whatnot, that's modbang.com. We're doing a 20% off sale. Go to the website and check it out. There's a code for that. Otherwise, I'll see y'all next time. Thank you. You're the best. I love you. Enjoy your Tonverks.